My question goes back to the main message that you've tried to communicate to us in this talk, which is you said that you really think that there needs to be a broader shift of talent towards more of these kind of charitable goals and less kind of on the more selfish, like March Madness, designing the next financial instrument. But I know that one of the main arguments advanced by your good friend Warren Buffett on why he focused so much on Berkshire Hathaway and investing was that that was what he did best, and that he didn't want, and he wanted to earn as much money as possible so that when he died, he would leave the maximum amount of his contribution to the world to be able to exploit. And I'm sure likewise early in your career, you focused a lot on developing Microsoft, and it's largely because of that that you have the resources available to you in order to direct resources toward these goals. So I guess my question is, why do you think that we as young people should take this, why shouldn't we adopt a philosophy that's a little bit more selfish, like what you and Mr. Buffett formerly did? And if that's where our talents lie and that's where we'll reap the most financial success, why not focus first and foremost on that?
Yeah, that's a very fair question. I think there's two models, two ways that we're going to get more of the brightest minds focused on the important problems. One is that we'll get more people to take on these problems in their full-time work. Now that'll be a minority. Maybe we'll get that from 3% up to 10%. And it doesn't mean just going to work for nonprofits. You can go to work in businesses that are willing to apply some of their resources to these things. In fact, some of the most innovative work is being done by large and small businesses that are focusing on these things. So that's the full-time approach, and the more people who do that, the better. And as you say, I did not do that, so those people get an A. And there's a second model, which is that you're pursuing something, and hopefully your full-time work is socially beneficial, but maybe not in the extreme that these particular problems are focused on. But in terms of your donating time, your political voice, some of your donations, and perhaps as you get later in your career and you have extra time, like I was lucky enough to do, then even more of your time being given to those things. And so if we can get from, say, 20% of people who follow that model to, say, 60% of people follow that model, that actually in absolute will be a greater impact than even the full-time piece. Per person, the full-time piece is the big win. But in Warren's case, he's decided to continue doing what he likes to do, and he's delegated the actual time in terms of who the money should go to our foundation. And I think that's an absolutely great model. I think Warren could apply himself to these problems, but he figures that he'll use this delegation thing that he's very good at in all of his work to make sure that it gets done. So it's very fair to say there are different models, and the just spend your life on these problems model won't be the path that a super high percentage will take.